Jitendra Bhargav, then I want to speak to you about the SOPs that were issued yesterday. Be transparent, give real-time information on delays and cancellations to passengers. This is an SOP that, by the way, the DGCA is issuing. Is this an SOP that anyone should have to issue, given the fact that this is something that should be the norm? Then they are saying cancel any flights that you think are going to be delayed beyond 3 hours. Do airlines need to be told this? Today, the ministry is saying, oh, we will give more CISF personnel. We will have war rooms to look into passenger grievances in 6 metro airports. Should you wait for the fog and the chaos that we have seen over the weekend for you to do what is basic common sense and should have been done in the first place? Maybe if these SOPs were already in place and these guidelines were being followed, maybe we wouldn't have seen the chaos that we did.
You know, what I basically find is that the chief executives of the airport as well as the airlines seem to have abdicated their responsibility to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Why should the minister intervene, prod airlines to get back? And as you said, that the runway has been made operational on the prodding of the ministry today. Why couldn't GMR, which manages the Delhi airport, would have done it yesterday or done it in advance or publicly announced, made a public statement that it will be made operational this day? If it can be made operational after minister's intervention, what was the delay? We want to know about it. And likewise, from the airline perspective, that is there a coordination cell that we are talking about it? At all airports, this was a standard practice that you have a body of all airlines managed by the airport. Now, what has the body done to basically lay down the guidelines and said, this is the emergency situation. If we face, then this will be our resolution. I see no reason why the ministry should be forced to intervene in these matters because it affects them politically. The airlines need to be taking the responsibility. They can't abdicate their own responsibility here.
But the fact is, Mr. Bhargav, if the airline doesn't take responsibility, if it feels it's perfectly okay to harass passengers, not to tell them the truth, announce delay after delay after delay after delaying a flight for 17 hours, it is the job of the government that we have voted for to step in. I mean, the government is doing no one any favors, frankly, here.
Government will intervene.
My own sense is that the aviation ministry is very, very soft on airlines. The entire tenor of the government and the civil aviation ministry seems to be, oh, ye ho gaya, now we have to do something, so let us do this. The tone and tenor doesn't seem to be, hard at all as far as airlines are concerned.
No, I wouldn't agree on this philosophy for the simple reason. Ministry knows because they get regular feedback from the airport as to what is the actual position. The question that is to be decided is how much of the passenger inconvenience caused was avoidable. Some of these inconveniences was a natural fallout of fog and disruption of flight, poor visibility, etc., which is beyond the control of the airline. But as you said earlier, aircraft, people being hostage on the aircraft, 12-hour delay at Goa airport and not being kept informed or taking a call on cancellation, etc. That is where the fault lies, that minimize the inconvenience caused through proactive action. Don't wait for anything. Look at the passengers, and he is at the ultimate kind of deciding that, look, if I want to wait for 12 hours because I have to reach my destination, I'll wait. Else, I will cancel it.
Mr. Bhargav, fact is that last year, 15 crore people took flights. And this is not how passengers need to be treated. This is not how passengers should be treated. India's aviation industry is the fastest growing in the world. I believe it's also the third largest. Now, if it is the fastest growing in the world and you have no infrastructure in place to deal with crowds of people that you want to attract, you are going terribly wrong somewhere. The fact also is, Mr. Bhargav, that the Aviation Ministry and the DGCA have issued notices to IndiGo and another airline asking them, where are your Cat 3 compliant pilots? The fact also is that airlines simply do not want to invest in pilots who are capable of taking off and landing during fogs. Problem wo bhi hai. You can have 50 Cat 3 compliant runways, but what is the point if you don't have the pilots?
The question is, pilots, Cat 3 trained pilots need to be there. There's no denying of that aspect. Can Indian aviation get the numbers that they want? The answer is no. Indian aviation industry is in growth mode. 133 new aircraft got inducted in 2023, which means about 2,000 additional pilots got trained to fly these aeroplanes. Can you ground a regular pilot doing the normal service for training of Cat 3 pilot, impact their normal schedule of flights? So it's a situation. Now, DGCA has done its part of issuing a show cause notice to seek information from the airlines. Airlines will submit their information, and should they find that there is deficit, there was deliberate lack of training, not to invest in training, etc., take them to task. But the reality of 133 aircraft being inducted in 1 year, which is the highest ever in the Indian aviation industry, 2,000 additional pilots taken, shortage of pilots has been witnessed when Akasa Airlines were poached by both Air India and by IndiGo only 4-5 months ago, impacting their flight schedule, is clear testimony that you need pilots at this stage, and you cannot really ground them and submit them for Cat 3 training. So there is a lacuna, there is a shortfall, and there is a reason of a sense of priority that airlines have drawn up. And let ministry be the final arbiter in this, whether they were right or wrong. Because if they had cancelled the flight, ministry would have pulled them up. If when you cancel flight, the fares go up. So there is a whole lot of picture to be taken and a 360-degree perspective taken before taking a final call who is guilty for the mess that was created in Delhi last Sunday.
Well, as far as the passenger is concerned, there is only one entity who is guilty, that's the airline. Michael Jain, are these just teething troubles, as Mr. Jitendra Bhargav is saying, or is this dadagiri? We control 65% of the market. ठीक है, we are getting some bad headlines, negative headlines, but so what? Where is the choice that passengers have? वापस तो हम ही पे आएंगे.
You have hit the nail on the head. The fact is that we only have 4 airline groups in India. And again, I'm coming back to your discussion about the US. There are about 25, 30 airlines in the US. So today, if a passenger is unhappy with an airline in the US, he can go to another airline that's giving a better service. In India, we only have 4 groups of airlines, and the choices are very limited. And some airlines have much higher market share than the others. So what happens is, what is the choice? Is the passenger doesn't have a choice in choosing. So the airline can be a little heavy-handed in this case, and treat the passengers as they please, which cannot happen in the Western world because there are penalties for treating passengers like this. There are penalties for passengers to behave badly. So, like this gentleman, which is completely violence is completely incorrect, but he has been arrested and there's a whole case on him and he might be put on the no-fly list. But what is the penalty on the airline? There is no penalty on the airline for what they have done. So I feel that instead of always blaming the ministry, it is not the ministry's job always, but what the ministry can do is also impose some penalty when such situations arise, because passenger comfort and convenience is what the airline is there for. So I feel a lot of work has to be done. These are not teething issues. These are very, deep-rooted issues which happen year on year. And I think with some intervention and with some proper guidelines that are put in place, I think a lot of, of these problems can be solved.